In this next section, we're looking at linear equations. We're looking at solving different linear equations here. So when we do this, we're looking at this equal sign. We're able to do something to one side of the equation, but we have to do it to the other side of the equation. We're trying to find out what x equals. What it is that if you multiply by 3 and add it to 6, and add 6 to it, it gives us 21. Some people might say, yeah, I can see it's 3 times 5 is 15 plus 6 is 21, so x equals 5. We want to go through the steps of actually working it out. So the first thing we usually deal with is the plus or minus. So the opposite of adding 6 is we subtract 6, both sides. Remember, if we do something to one side, we have to do it to the other. So 3x plus 6 minus 6, just going to leave it 3x equals, and 21 minus 6 is going to be 15. So we've got the 3x equals 15. So now we want to get x by itself. 3x is the same as 3 times x. So the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. And that'll get x by itself. So we'll divide both sides by 3. So we get that 3x divided by 3, that just leaves us x equals 15 divided by 3 is 5. So x equals 5. Now if you ever want to check these answers, what you can do is you can substitute back into the start and say, okay, well, if x equals 5, this should be true when I put 5 where I see an x. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus 6 is 21. So we're lucky that one seems to have worked nicely. Let's have a look at this one. So we start with 6x minus 6. So here we're going to add 6 to both sides. So 6x minus 6 plus 6, that's just going to leave us with 6x, which is what we were hoping for. And 54 plus 6 is 60. If we've got 6x, and we'll just find out our x, we can divide both sides by 6. Okay, 6x divided by 6 is just going to leave it x, which is again what we're hoping for. And x equals 60 divided by 6, which is 10. We can do a quick check. If I pop this back here, put 10 where I see x. 6 times 10 is 60 minus 6 equals 54. So that has worked out well. Here we've got to do a little bit of expanding before we get to our answer. 4 times x is going to be 4x plus 4 times 5 is 20. Now, we want to get rid of this plus 20, so we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. 4x plus 20 minus 20 leaves us with 4x equals, and on this side of the equation, 20 minus 20 is going to give us 0. Now, to get 4 by itself, we have to divide both sides by 4. Okay, 4x divided by 4 leaves us with x. 0 divided by 4 equals 0. Let's quickly substitute and check we're right. 4 times, so let's do the brackets first. 0 plus 5 is 5. 4 times 5 equals 20. So that seems to work out pretty nicely. Let's have a look at this next one. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4, but it's a negative. A positive times a negative is going to be a negative. So it's 2x minus 4 equals 0. Now we want to get the x term by itself. So if we add 4 to both sides, which we can do. So if we do something to one side, we can do it to the other. 2x minus 4 plus 4, that's just going to be 2x equals, and 0 plus 4 is going to be 4. You can probably guess, 2 times a certain number equals 4. Well, the certain number's got to be 2, but let's do it mathematically and just double check. 2 times 4, the opposite of multiplying by 2 is divide by 2. We divide both sides by 2. 2x divided by 2, that's just leave it x equals 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2, which is 2. We can substitute back in if we want. 2 minus 2 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, so that one works out very nicely as well. Now we come to we've got a couple of tricks that we've got in this question. First thing we're going to have to do is expand out the brackets, and then we're going to find we've got x's on both sides of the equation, so we have to work through that. Let's expand out the brackets first. So 3 times x is going to be 3x plus 3 times 2 is 6 this side will stay the same, 38 minus x. Now, we tend to get rid of the smallest x term, which is going to be minus x. So we want to get all the x's on one side. So if we add x to both sides, that's going to wipe out this minus x here. So let's add x to both sides. So we've got 3x plus x, that's going to be 4x plus 6 equals. Then we've got 38 minus x plus x. Well, the minus x and the plus x, that just equals 0, so it's going to equal 38 here. Now we go solving it in the way we have done before. We've got a plus 6 here. We want to get the x's by themselves. So we've got a plus 6. The opposite of the plus 6 is minus 6 from both sides. So let's have a look at that. 4x plus 6 minus 6 is just going to equal 4x. So 4x equals, and on this other side, 38 minus 6 is going to be 32. We want to get x by itself. We've got 4 times x. So if we divide both sides by 4, that's going to get x by itself. So divide both sides by 4. So 4x divided by 4 is going to leave x. X equals 32 divided by 4, which is 8. And if we substitute this back in, it's a little bit of a complex formula, but see what we get. We get 8 plus 2 is 10, so we get 30 equals 38 minus 8. 38 minus 8 is 30, so 30 equals 30, so that works out really nicely. And we're on to the last few of these questions now. Next one is a little bit similar, except we've got to expand on both sides, so let's just quietly go through that. 2 times x is 2x, plus 2 times 4 is 8. That equals 4 times x, which is 4x, plus 4 times 6, which is 24. Now we get rid of the smallest value of x to help balance those, to get all the x's on this one side here. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. So 2x minus 2x, that's just going to leave us with 8 on this side. So we're going to have 8 equals 4x. You have to subtract 2x from both sides. So 8 is going to equal 2x. 4x minus 2x, 2x plus 24. Of course, we subtracted 2x from both sides of the equation. Now, we want to subtract, we're going to get 2x by itself, so we're going to subtract 24 from both sides of the equation. So we're going to get 8 minus 24, and you could use your calculator to check this, but if you start at positive 8 and you go 24 in a negative direction, that's going to give us negative 16 equals 2x. And if you've got plus 24 minus 24, that's just going to leave us with nothing. So the last thing we can do, we've got 2x here, we're going to divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself. 2 times x divided by 2 is going to leave us x. So if we go to this last line, negative 16 divided by 2 is going to be negative 8 equals, and 2x divided by 2 is x. So that's what we're going to have here. If we want to check it, negative 8 plus 4 is going to be minus 4 times 2 is minus 8. Over on this side, negative 8 plus 6 is going to be minus 2. Times 4 is minus 8. So that seems to have worked pretty nicely for us again. Last couple of questions before we actually look at drawing some graphs. This is a taxi fare. Taxi fares are charged at $5 for every ride. So when you jump in the cab, the meter starts at $5 and $1.20 per kilometre travel. If the fare is $85, how far have they travelled? So we could write the rule for the fare as saying the fare equals flag full plus $1.20 multiplied by number of kilometres. So let's substitute what we know in. We know that the fare is $85. We know that the flag full is 5 plus $1.20, 1.2 multiplied by kilometres. Okay. And we want to find out how far they've travelled, how many kilometres they've got. So we're going to have to get kilometres by themselves. So the first thing we can do is get rid of this plus 5 by subtracting 5 from both sides. So if we do that, 85 minus 5 is going to be 80 equals, and it's going to be 1.2 times the number of kilometres. To get kilometres by itself, it's 1.2 multiplied by kilometres. If we divide both sides by 1.2, so 80 divided by 1.2, somewhere in here, hopefully I've got a calculator up, so let's go 80 divided by 1.2, so that's equals 66.67 to 2 decimal places. So 66.67 equals the number of kilometres. And because it's a worded question, we want to answer in that. So in words, they have travelled 66.67 kilometres. And I want to check that that seems reasonable. $1.20 per kilometre, so it's got to be it's going to be a little less than the 85. 66.67 kilometres seems pretty reasonable to me. Last one, a little bit of a different way of putting this. $5 for the flagfall, and there must be some inflation since the last question, so now it's $2.20 per kilometre travel. So John wants to live within a taxi, $30 taxi fare of the airport. Maybe he flies to the airport a lot for business. What's the furthest distance? What's the furthest taxi trip that John can live from the airport? So let's go for a rule again. So the fare equals the flagfall plus, in this case, 2.2 times the number of kilometres. This time we're saying that $30 is the biggest fare. So he's got to live within, so the flagfall is $5 plus 2.2 km. So let's go to solve for this equation that we've set up, this rule we've set up. The first thing we want to do is get the kilometres by themselves. So we can subtract 5 from both sides, because that will get rid of, we've got plus 5 here. That's going to get rid of that plus 5. So 30 minus 5 is 25 equals 2.2 kilometres. And to get the kilometres by themselves, we have to divide both sides by 2.2. And we'll go to the calculator to help with this. So 25 divided by 2.2, that equals 11.36. So 11.36. And 2.2 divided by 2.2 is just going to give you the number of kilometres. So we know the distance he can live is 11.36 kilometres, and that sounds about right. You know, $2.20 per kilometre. You know, even around $2.22 kilometres, it's a little bit further for the 20 cents plus the $5. It seems like it makes sense. So John has to live within 11.36 kilometres